allegiance.
Very proud.
The flag is located in the back of the room.
Stand up, Frank.
I pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This meeting is being conducted in compliance with the Open Meetings Act. The Verona Board of Education passed a resolution at its meeting held on January 7, 2014. This meeting set forth the schedule of its regular meetings, which resolution was within 7 days of passage. The schedule was sent to the Verona Seaboard Times, the Star Ledger, the Herald News, the Township of Verona, and the Verona Education Association. Postings of this meeting setting forth the time, location, and agenda were posted in each of Verona's 6 schools, the board office, and town hall. This posting was also sent to the web newspapers, all SEA presidents, and SEA liaisons. The Verona Board of Education operates under a consent agenda format, and the board member has the right to have an item pulled to be voted upon or discussed separately. Copies of tonight's agenda and resolutions have been made available to the public present. Mr. Quattrochi, Mr. Spardell,
Here.
Mr. Day,
Here.
Mr. Bellino,
Here.
Mr. Eames.
Here. Okay. We have a regular session. It is our second work session, a regular session meeting of the month. We do have some committee reports tonight that we will be reporting and a update in the ad hoc referendum committee as well. Before we start though, we will have a presentation from our turf field committee in just a few moments. But to kick us off, is there any public comment on the agenda itself? Okay. Let's start with our presentation.
So we have in our audience, we have with us 3 gentlemen, I believe. And we would like to call them up to the podium to do a presentation. We have Carlo Calabrese, Tom Petrano, and Alex Graziano from the Field Turf Committee, who have raised money to donate to the school district for the completion of the new field project. There was one other member. You could touch on that too.
Yes, good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. Thank you for putting this on the agenda tonight. It is our great pleasure and privilege to make a presentation, which we will get to in just a moment. We do want to remember our absent 4th committee member, Lynn Tucci, who could not be here tonight because of illness. She sends her best wishes and her regards to the board as well. But we would like to present to the superintendent our check in the amount of $47,397.19, which represents the proceeds from the Hillbilly Muscle Car Turf Field fundraiser from 2006 and early 2007. So, Mr. Ford, it is our great pleasure to present this to you. Good luck to you, and good luck to everyone on the board in reaching the construction of this wonderful field. And we wish you the best of luck as well in resolving the concerns of the local residents as well. I'm sure that everyone sitting together will be able to figure that one out.
Virginia, you taking a picture? Yeah.
Is that all the way?
Me first.
Thanks, guys.
What's it gonna use?
Yeah.
Okay, let's get started with our committee reports. Education.
I did not.
All right. I can do it if you want. Can you go to the next one, Mike?
Sure, athletics. Oh, you want to?
Okay,
Do you have
we had an athletics committee meeting, and last week. Some of the things we talked about was the, again, cardiac screening. One of the things that was discussed was the various forms that were decided upon by the state. Also talking about nurses, how we write certain directions for how to complete these various forms. And also we'll talk about having doctors and nurses being certified for these cardiac screening items for the students. So that's what's discussed at the meeting. Along with the AEDs, we talked about getting various quotes. There was decided we are going forward with lifesavers, and the PO is being processed. The lifesavers is based in Fairfield, and they provided us a qualified quote at a reasonable cost. So, we also had just talked briefly about the field committee that Gary Ferguson is heading up. He actually sent out an update to the committee to advise them of sort of where we are, what we're waiting to accomplish, and he's going to set up a follow-up meeting with the field committee in the near future. Regarding the field trip, there was a field trip that is going to be coming up because of the long night. Is that on 5/28 we're going to have a field trip to New York City. It's a dinner and going to the Lion King. And just an update on the first year head coaches. We had really hired a lot of coaches this year. Julie Damon did a great job, just to throw some names out there. Kelly Flynn of tennis won the state section championship.
She's here, by the way.
Congratulations. For basketball, Jessica Delvecchio won the conference champs and state sectional finals. And ice hockey, Ken Williams won the Essex County Hockey Coach of the Year award. And baseball, Joe Phelan vying for first place in the division. So congratulations to the first place. And then in county tournaments, we have the Greater North Tournament, which was held on the 10th. So that was held this last weekend. We had a lacrosse finals at September this weekend too. I don't know the exact results. Yeah, the results. I know.
No, I do not. Okay. I know Seton Hall.
It was my wife's birthday and it was Mother's Day, and I was busy. But I will get the results and hopefully I'll do it. That's it for tonight.
Education?
Okay, education met today, conference call. We talked about our ABD program in the elementary schools, our engineering by design, and we are still working in cooperation with the College of New Jersey on this project. We do plan to expand the engineering by design program into 5th grade next year to have some type of a continuation of it for the kids that get it right now. We are also planning an elementary school basic skills teacher for next year, and this will be funded by folding because there's one teacher that's not needed next year in one of the grade levels. We have not enough students, so we're going to have this teacher's already budgeted. And the BSI program that we started this year on a very small basis was very successful with students. So the goal was to take our lowest 20 students in grade 1 in reading and remediate the program. They were only received about an hour a week for approximately 20 weeks. And their reading levels went up an average of 7.1 over the time from November to March. So we saw a great strides here, and we think that we can expand the program, have kindergarten, second half of kindergarten, first grade, and second grade all receive these type of remedial measures that will hopefully let them catch up so that they succeed later in school. Also, Mr. Miller sent a letter to all 6th grade parents on May 21st. Actually, it's coming up. It's about a test that we're going to give on May 21st. He sent it out last week, and it's called the Algebra 1 Readiness Test. This is to find out which students are going to be ready to take Algebra 1 in middle school. And June 6th is our last professional development day. The teachers will be working on their professional development plans for the year after, which is up for new laws in New Jersey that we have to follow different methods of devising these plans. A couple different professional development opportunities coming up. We have 3 teachers, 2 are brand new that we just hired that are going to start with us this summer, going to AP institutes, one for AP Physics, AP Bio, and AP Environmental, make sure that the teachers are ready to go in September. We're also working out with College Board to bring the AP Institute to Verona High School like we did 2 years ago. And in special ed, we just talked a little bit about some different professional development opportunities. We have 2 of our staff members going to Fairleigh Dickinson for a workshop on transition. We have our director going to a conference in Atlantic City. And also, we received a great deal of positive feedback from parents and child study team members on the new IEP program called IEP Direct. That was the highlights.
Thank you. Bill, Mrs. Brown?
Item number 1 that we discussed was we kicked off the Energy Savings Improvement Project. So that was kicked off via the initiation of what is going to be a 12-week process to conduct what will result in an investment-grade energy audit. So Honeywell visited all of the schools. They've done an accounting of all of our equipment, and then next week, Paul will meet with a Honeywell representative to review the operational spending around our utilities. So stay tuned for the results of that. Mr. McDevitt presented to the committee a list of his goals for accomplishing some summer projects. These projects are outside the scope of the referendum. It's essentially his wish list. There's about $400,000 worth of work. He does not have $400,000 with which to do all of that, so he's going to initiate a priority list, and then Charlie will have a meeting with you to find out how much he does have to work. As far as the referendum project, there are 2 contracts that the committee is recommending to receive full board approval. One is for the Mylan, and the other is the somewhat perfunctory response on the French grill. We already agreed to approve that conditional. An update on the HBW track. So we don't have the formal confirmation from Montclair Kimberly that they will pay for the other half of the track refurbishment, but in principle, our contact has indicated that it should be, he should receive approval. He just needs to get his buildings and finance committee to provide that final approval, and that leading up to that what was conditional was that we would fix the drainage issue prior to their agreeing to share the cost of the track refurbishment. So we've indicated that we will fix that drainage, and so that seems to have removed any hurdle there. And then Mr. McDevitt shared with us 2 job descriptions that he wants the board to fund. One is an administrative person to assist him with the execution of the project, and the other is a clerk of the works, also to assist him. So what we discussed, the likely outcome would be that we would fund one or the other, but he was going to post into our personnel files those job descriptions for the 2 positions should we elect to move forward.
Yeah, I just had a question with the track. A couple years ago, when we were talking about resurfacing and the drainage issue came up. We got together with the joint committee, so it was some representatives from MKA, and then some from our board. There's myself, Mr. Parisian, and one of it was it possible, one at the time sat on it, and then it was like the headmaster from MKA, Tom Fleming, and a couple other individuals from MKA. I'm just recommending that maybe we do that before we go ahead and formally make all the changes, just to get both parties in the same room, looking at the same agreement, with the same curves and what's going to happen, and then do one more afterwards as a follow-up. I didn't know if the board's thoughts were. It's in the contract to do that technically before we move forward, but we just never exercised it until more recently. So what's the board?
I mean, I don't want to speak for Joe, but I will speak for the committee, and then Joe can interject anything. We're comfortable that Mr. McDevitt is going to execute the refurbishment of the track. So if you have any particular concerns or issues or contribution, I would just encourage you might call Paul and certainly discuss those.
Yeah, no concern. I wouldn't want to say one necessarily. I just wasn't sure I would much get the team really together. But that's good. Yeah, it's fine. Alright, let's go to finance.
Finance did have a short meeting tonight. We discussed a couple of different things very briefly. First one is that the bond sale closing is May 15th, and so we should receive the proceeds from the bond sale pretty soon after that, right?
It's gonna happen on Thursday, at some point during the day, yeah.
All right. Now, are we doing anything with it other than to deposit it in our account? We're not doing anything else with it currently. Interest, kind of the bond proceeds, so what account?
Well, the money's being wired into our general fund on Thursday, but by Thursday, I should have set up a New Jersey One account, which is what we had set up the last time.
Okay, that comes up.
Yes, so, by tomorrow, that account should be set up, but the company who's buying the bonds needed the wire instructions today. So they have to set that up on their end. So the money's gonna be wired in, and I'm gonna wire it out to New Jersey on Thursday.
Okay.
So we'll be all set up.
We have a number of invoices that we discussed also. We have about $40,000 from vendors being mostly related to the bond sale, the bond counsel, the financial advisor, and there's also a fair amount of money that we can repay to ourselves, since we paid some expenses out of our own pocket for engineering work and architectural work. We could reimburse ourselves, and it's a reasonable amount of money, $168,000. It was a discussion which I kind of fostered in terms of whether we want to pay ourselves back this money now, taking it into the general fund, or hold it for a future date and wait to see what how the bids come in, and whether we better use it as we get to the capital project account. But having thought about it in the short time since that meeting to now, we do have some needs for it, which was outlined in the Buildings and Grounds Committee. We have Mr. Devitt given us a list of $400,000. About $100,000 of which we already talked about. That was for the track, but there's another $300,000 on top of that. This would help facilitate us freeing up some money in this year's budget in order to do some of those projects. So I think we need to really seriously think about what we want to do. Is it wiser to hold the money and as a contingency against high bids, or is it better to pay ourselves off and go spend the money on things that Paul wants to spend the money on? So if anybody wants to speak up at this point, okay.
One of the questions that came out of the committee was, I'm going to call the auditors and see if it has to happen in this year. And if it has to happen in this year, then
And we have to, June, to the June meeting, that's not a call, right?
we have, yeah,
you
our
know,
August
until you
meeting.
close the books, you probably won't close the books until August, maybe July or August. You could always write yourself a account receivable, report of account receivable. But I think we need to know which direction we're going, I think, for the next month or two, and decide what we want to do. I think it's open for discussion, and right now I'm really on the fence with it.
Does the Buildings and Grounds Committee think that we'll be able to go out to bid and at least start something this summer? Whether it's the paving or the sidewalk
good question.
repairs? Because that would maybe be a good indication of what bids are gonna come in at.
Well, maybe we have a better feel for that next month. I mean, we have time to figure this out, but we don't have a lot of time. Certainly, if we're going to spend money on doing repairs and maintenance of the building, Paul's going to need to know by July 1st whether we can go ahead with this whole list of projects or we water it down. So I don't. We should really talk about it a little more seriously in July. I'm sorry, next month, kind of thing.
Or even at the end of this month.
Or the end of this month, right. But ask the auditor, and so we have at least that clarified. And then we'll go from there. The other things we talked about really were somewhat contract related. We did talk about some issues concerning longevity and the benefits to the staff over the summer months, which were minor discussions at that point in time. And we did spend a little bit of time talking about the end of the year and closing out the current year and where we stand. And right now, we think we're going to be in a little bit better position than we've been in the past, so in terms of money left in the budget. So again, we'll have a better feel, by the end of the month, and maybe we can marry these two things together as to what we want to do with year-end money and what we want to do with money that we come back to us, on top of that from the referendum itself. And that's about it.
The only thing I want to add, and thanks on March 12th, the governor signed a law regarding direct deposit, and we will require all state employees to receive compensation by direct deposit by July 1st. And so it's one of the things that we're looking at as how that will affect our school district employees, and it's something that would be beneficial for the school district to at least look at that as an option, since the state is going to do that and should follow the state's lead in regards to direct deposit.
Okay. Are there any additional ad hoc referendum committee reports? Discussion items. Anything in addition?
Please take the ad hoc committees.
I said yes.
I want to talk about it. I'm very excited about some of my committees I'm on right now. So, I'm on the security committee, ad hoc security committee. So I just want a couple things I want to point out. You guys are on here. We're having a demonstration. We're going to be given on Thursday, March 15th. And that's going to be I'm sorry, May 15th. I'm sorry. May 15th, and the purpose is to be able to see the equipment that we're considering, including cameras, visitor management system, and proximity access control. So, very, very important items that we'll be reviewing. We also had a group consisting of members of the committee that did a survey of the 6 school districts. And during those surveys, they were looking at different camera placements. They broke the cameras into 3 tiers based off priority. And they can try to whittle down the number to get within the budgetary limitations of the referendum. So I think that was great effective for that group to go out there and visit all the schools to make sure that we really had a good understanding of where the best placements are for those cameras. The last thing is the committee is to review and develop recommendations for altering, enhancing, and adding policies that will account for technology-related security improvements. So working in tandem with the technology committee, because security and technology sort of overlap. So we want to make sure that we're taking advantage of the synergies and making sure that we're working together in those 2 committees and maximize how we can reduce the cost for those 2 groups working together. That's what I have for the security committee. And the other committee I want to talk about, if you don't want to keep the floor, is the technology committee. As you know, technology is a critical component of our school district. They're part of that referendum. And being on that committee, we had a chance to talk about a lot of great things, and it's being led by Cindy Costanza, who heads up our technology department for the schools. And really one of the key things we talk about is wireless and wired networks. So Cindy and the team have been talking to various organizations about equipment, type of equipment, various network wires, and so on. We're trying to whittle that down to get to the correct group of individuals that we want to work with going forward as part of the referendum. We also have been talking to various consulting groups, and we'll be bringing up that information down the line, but the bottom line is we feel that it's necessary to have a consultant to assist with this technology because it is such a key component of our referendum that we want to make sure that we do it right and possibly bring a consultant to make that, make some recommendations for us. That's it. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you. Discussion on items? It's time for the superintendent's report.
Okay, so we had several new hires coming on board, and we have been very successful in recruiting people. We feel like we're recruiting some good talent to come into our district. The NDAS testing will continue this week in all the elementary schools. We have 3 summer classes for Colwell College credit offered at Verona High School this year. Criminal justice in the media, Vietnam War, and interpersonal relationships. One last thing, the Syracuse University program is really taking off. There's been 60 students signing up for the Syracuse University psychology class, which students will earn 3 credits from Syracuse University at a cost of $330 as opposed to a cost of $6,000 when you took it at Syracuse. So I don't know why 60 kids chose it. If it's just because it's psychology, or if some parents are out there saying $330 instead of $6,000. I think it would probably be a combination of the Forte House if it was me, but it might be leaning more towards the $330. So we had several students want to sign up for this. So many that we're in negotiations right now with Syracuse to try to make it 2 half-year courses, and we think we're going to get approval to run 2 half-year courses so we can double the number of kids that can take the course. So it's kind of an exciting time for these dual enrollment programs. They're really blowing up, and kids are really taking advantage of it. So I just wanted to bring that to light here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fulton. Let's do resolutions.
Want to do them all together?
I'm fine with that.
All right, there's also an addendum resolution, which is the last page. Resolved that the board approve resolutions number 1, number 26, and addendum resolutions number 1, 2, and 3.
Second.
So moved by Mr. Bueno, seconded by Mr. Day. Let's call roll. Oh, sorry.
Discussion.
Discussion.
It's the last page of the new packet that Mike handed you.
It's at the end of those resolutions for the referendum.
Yes, that I did. In the top of the sheet.
So while Mr. Square was looking at that, I just wanted to make mention of the resolutions that you see repeated one after another, which causes that to be 26 tonight. That is the remaining 6 projects that require these 2 resolutions for each project, and it's language that's taken right out of the state contract law on these SDA grants. So in total, there are 7 projects, 2 for each. So the last meeting we passed 2, and then this is the remaining 12. And this goes down to the SDA package and starts the whole grant agreement process. And kind of moving them off.
The only comment I have, and I wish I had, you guys said this when they were here, to the field service committee, because Cal agrees with to Trano and Graziano, how grateful we are that they had the interest to take on a pretty big project. And while, they came up entire board for their effort. And the money will go to good use, no doubt about it. I'm sorry to go through that. But, I'll pass it on.
Just a matter of business, the addendum item number 3, that's the contract with the consultant, that's the one you're referring to, your committee recommending.
Yes, we are.
Should we say a few words on it, or?
Mr. Sparrow?
Aye.
Mr. Beck?
Aye.
Mr. Bueno?
Yeah.
Mr. Enos?
Aye. That finishes our agenda for tonight. We're going to move on to public comment. Before we do, I want to just say a few words really briefly and take a few notes here. The Board of Education recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and the importance of allowing members to come up and express themselves on school matters and matters of education policy and matters of community interest in regards to our schools. Just as a reminder, please direct all statements to the presiding officer, which would be Mr. Carpocci, who is running the meeting, and myself today, and not individual board members or community members in the audience. All right. If you have any public comment, you can come up this time.
We've never done that before.
For just because of the last meeting, we had a lot of calling up from the audience, and there were some concerns around just the format of the meeting. So I was asked to share that. But of course, you can, if you want to, feel free to. We're just saying if it gets into what we saw before, we're going to do our best to keep it.
And as always, I just want to publicly thank you all, because I come to these meetings faithfully. You never do cut people off. You sit here until way past bedtime. So truly it's appreciated, and thank you. My question, I don't know if it's more a question or a comment, about the AP courses. I think it's fantastic. You keep adding them and adding them, you get recognition on the AP honor roll. And I know that brings a lot of recognition to the schools. With that, kids are taking multiple tests at a time, and they're $89 a clip. And this doesn't affect me anymore, I'm done. So just for people coming forward, I know some districts, boards of ed, chip in, they either pay for the test or help mitigate some of the costs. Because I think our policy, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that if you do take an AP class, they are weighted, so you do get that benefit in your bottom line with GPA. But to get that benefit, you have to take the test. So some kids take AP courses for the rigor as well, because I know colleges are looking at you to take the most rigorous coursework possible while you're in high school. So maybe somebody might take 3 or 4 APs, but if you're going into a certain major, a lot of the colleges don't take the AP test credits that are in your major. They'll take things that are general requirements, or you'll get waived from a general requirement. So you might be taking a lot of AP tests just to get that rigorous course load and to get your weight on your GPA, but maybe don't want to take or don't need to take all of the tests. So what is our policy on getting the weightedness? And is there any opportunity, if you have to take the test to get that benefit, is there an opportunity to maybe look at that policy and say, if you took the coursework and you did all the requirements, that you could still get maybe honors weights? I know we eliminated some honors courses in English and things to boost the AP. I'm just kind of trying to figure out, is there a balance? This came up at a high school SCA meeting last night. That's why I'm asking one of the parents who has a student, multiple students taking multiple tests, so you're going to add on maybe $400 or $500 onto your prom bid and your $120 yearbook and your $160 project graduation. So at the end of that year, you might have an extra $1,000 that you're packing on. So I'm just wondering if, what the AP policy is, and if there's room to look at that.
I can answer that. The AP policy is if you take an AP course, you have to take the AP test. There are a handful, like 5 kids out of 400 tests that don't take it. And if they don't take it, they do not get AP credit, they get honors credit.
Oh, so you do still get some type of weighted
You get
credit?
honors credit instead of
Okay.
AP. The other thing is if there's anybody who comes forward or, has a need, we will reimburse them for part of the expense depending on their level of need.
Mhm.
And I just wanted to correct you on one thing. We haven't really added AP courses, not in a long time. This is the first year.
Yeah, AP stats added, right?
That was-
AP physics.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying over the years,
Okay.
since I had my first one
This
come
has been
into
here-
now,
you've been
I've been
here
here
a
a long time.
I just didn't want everybody to think like we just added a lot. We're
Oh,
adding
yeah,
one
no,
this
no.
year.
Yeah, I know, so each year we've
Right.
added at
And it's
least one or
one year
two.
late for you, I guess, right? Because
Yeah.
the environmental especially, right?
He's okay with
So that's
environmental.
the policy, all of our policies are always up for review by the Board of Education. If that's something that they feel like they want to revisit. But right now, that's the policy.
So if you don't take it, you'll still get some extra weight, but not the AP weight. You'll get what the old honors weight was, so there is a little wiggle room in that.
But that's a very, very, very small percentage. I think it was something like 5 tests. We also have several kids taking the test that don't take the class.
I know, yeah, I know a lot of kids have done that,
Right.
just based on their knowledge. Okay, great, thank you.
Ferrari. I just got a question, and it's not athletically related. Joe, with the, I guess, 10 million plus again from the bond, can you reinvest any of that money for, some of the money may not be paid for another year, so can you do the short-term municipal fund or something like 1 or 2% on it?
I won't do that,
Zero.
because you're risking,
The ARM fund.
the ARM fund is, but it's not generating a lot of interest like it was back in
Yeah, I
'06.
mean, it's an interest-bearing account. The ARM account is an interest-bearing account, but there are restrictions on what you can do with the money. There are arbitrage laws that say that if you make more interest than the bond itself, that you have to pay back to the state, so you can't even keep it all. But it is an interest-bearing account, and we'll obviously keep whatever we can. When we had the last bond referendum, the 33 million bond referendum, there was a fairly substantial amount of interest. And there was a lot of discussion at that time what we're going to do with it. And we may have that same discussion again, and maybe we don't want to do with it this time what we did with it last time. But anyway, it is in an interest-bearing account, but interest being what they are today, I don't think we're going to come anywhere near what we were able to come up with the last time. But we'll try anyway. Not just going to sit there and languish for a couple of years. That's what these are.
What's it yielding now, approximately?
What is the
What is the yield on the loan?
I'm not sure what it is, probably maybe 2%.
Yeah, I don't think
Oh.
I have the exact number, but
You're probably only paying, what, about 3.5 on the...
Right, 3 and 4 years, something like that.
Yeah, oh, that's good. So
A little over 3%. Yeah,
it's good. Yeah, the rates stayed low for the last couple of months. It actually has gone down, so that's good.
John Farrell was
Okay, good. That's pretty much it. I had some other positive comments for everything that Steve and everyone did here for the whole entire referendum, but there's any battles to fight tonight, so I'll save it for another time. Thank you.
Just to clarify, I meant my question, I meant my remark was like, you can talk to anybody.
I'm okay, that's Rob Caruso, 42 Marion. Mr. Vice President, I just wanted to find out if you had an update on the status of the fields.
In terms of
I guess everything's
the,
been decided,
Sure,
since
so-
the last meeting.
so in terms of the field committee, Gary is currently meeting with French and Pearl, and if someone else wants to speak to this, they can as well, of course. In terms of the field committee that myself is on, and Joe, you're on as well.
Yeah, the French Girl and Steve can come in here to explain some of the stuff that the village around, and maybe here the field committee, things move along. I mean, that's about all we can say. We approved contracts tonight. We don't have, and we came up, we did come up a couple times tonight as to when do we think the packages will be ready. And we don't have a solid answer on that. We're hoping that we have something early part of the summer, which will allow us to move ahead with certain things. And certain parts of the referendum are moving ahead. Technology, for instance, is moving ahead. Security is moving ahead. The field itself has some other issues that we have to determine. Whether we're going to be ready to have a bid package out by July or any part of summer remains to be seen. We hope so, but it's too premature to say for sure whether we will or we won't. But we talked about when will we move into this project. It is going to displace some sports season, whether it displaces the fall sports season or the next spring sports season. We're not sure. I think the feeling of the committee is that they want to move as quickly as we can, and that's just contingent upon how fast the documents can be put together, how much the preliminary work is completed, and how fast they put the documents together. That's all we can say.
Okay, I know that.
I would interject one thing
Sure.
or add. That right now, the current assumption, and the engineer has not said this can be done, and he's on board, is that we start the work in September, so we have to displace the fall sports, anybody impacted, but that the spring sports would then be fully engaged in the new field. That's the current plan.
So the timetable, this could be completed in a year from now, I mean, or less?
Yeah, absolutely.
That portion of it, I would say, if we can hold to that schedule, and that is the feeling of the committee, to follow that schedule, that would be correct. I mean, if we follow that schedule, it would be done by, well, I don't know, yeah, we would, for the spring season would be playing on the field.
The lights for the baseball, I know the lights at this point are just being discussed for football or whatever, but Mr. Sparvell at one of the previous meetings expressed his interest for baseball.
That hasn't been discussed
Right.
to any great degree.
Okay, and my personal opinion would be that if you're going to do this project, I think it should be go all the way. I mean, you should be able to do baseball games at that time if you're going to do football or soccer or any other sport. That's my personal opinion.
The way it's structured, Rob, is that currently we have a budget and we have a design on which that budget was formulated that did not contemplate night baseball, an adequate amount of lighting to accommodate a night baseball game. But there's contingency money that so you take this project as your base project and then you list some add subtract type of items. So if you have the extra money, these are what's the term that the project uses? Alternate. Yeah. Okay. It's not complicated. So these are alternate options that if we have the money, then we could, and we prioritize those, and adding enough enough lights for baseball is on that alternate list. So it's not, nothing's been prioritized yet, to Joe's point, but it's being contemplated. So whether or not we can or can't, we don't know yet.
I wasn't here last week, but I did watch the video on YouTube, and I'm sorry that you guys are taking this abuse that you're taking. And I just want you to know that the majority of the townspeople are behind you, and we support what you're doing. Even though you may not be as vocal as the people that were here last week and other weeks. I don't know if they call that the silent majority, but 62% voted for it. The townspeople are supporting you guys, and we appreciate all the work you're putting in and the abuse you're taking. We're sorry that you're taking it. But you guys have done a great job, and I appreciate it. Thanks very much.
Any other public comment? If not, that concludes our meeting for tonight. The next scheduled public meeting will be held on May 27th, beginning with a confidential session at 7 p.m. and public at 8 p.m. Have a great night. Good night.
Yeah.